a situation or a problem that Athens had been facing that year. And the Greeks put suffering on stage. We often like to push suffering to the back of our minds, but we all suffer. It's what links human beings. Every single one of us will know pain in our lives. Suffering is inescapable from the human condition. And when the Greeks came together and watched these plays and watched men and women depicted in an agony of pain and anxiety and utter extremity of suffering, they realized that they were not alone in their pain. And periodically, the leader of the audience would sometimes turn to the audience and say, "Now weep, weep for Oedipus, a man who in real life you'd normally shun, a man who inadvertently had killed his father and married his mother." And yet the audience were asked to expand their sympathies and see the pain of this man. And the Greeks did weep. They didn't just wipe an embarrassed tear from the corner of their eyes and gulp like a modern Western man. They wept aloud because they believed that weeping together created a bond between human beings. Now, the first of these plays to come down to us was Aeschylus's The Persians. It was presented some 7 years after the Greeks had defeated the Persian army at the Battle of Salamis. But before that victory, the Persians had rampaged through Athens, pillaging the city, looting, burning, destroying, and knocking down all the beautiful new temples on the Acropolis outside the city. And now Aeschylus demands that the Greek audience weep for the Persians and see the Battle of Salamis from the position of the defeated Persians. There's not a hint of gloating, not a hint of triumphalism. Instead, the Persians are presented as a people in mourning, and Xerxes, the defeated general, is brought and greeted with respect and escorted into his palace ceremonially. And when I'm in New York or Washington, I sometimes say, "Now, could you, Americans, after 9/11, put on a play in Broadway that made the audience weep for the plight of some Muslims in various parts of the world?" And they always ruefully shake their heads, but they take the point. This an extension of sympathy, but to see that the enemy also suffers, the enemy is also in mourning, the enemy has also lost. And this goes right back to Homer in the Greek tradition. In the Iliad, a poem which you know takes one incident in the long 10-year war between the Greeks and the Trojans. In the 9th year of the war, Achilles, the chief warrior on the Greek side, has a quarrel with his king Agamemnon. And he retires and sulks in his tent in a fit of egotistic pique and takes all his troops out of the army. Well, this is disastrous for the Greek side. And in the ensuing confusion, Achilles' beloved friend Patroclus is killed in battle by Hector, one of the Trojan princes. And Achilles goes mad with grief. He challenges Hector to a duel, which is fought in front of the Trojans and the Greeks. He then, when he's killed Hector, he desecrates the body by dragging it round and round and round Patroclus' grave at the back of his war chariot. And then he does a terrible thing. He refuses to give Hector's body to the family back for burial, which means, in Greek terms, that his soul will never know rest. But then one night, into the Greek camp comes King Priam, Hector's father, in disguise, right into enemy territory. And the old man makes his way to Achilles' tent, and he throws off his disguise, and everybody falls silent in shock. And then this frail old man, who's who goes forward to Achilles and falls on his knees and embraces Achilles' legs and weeps and weeps. He weeps for his son Hector and also for all the other sons that Achilles has slain. And Achilles looks at the old man and remembers his own father, and he too begins to weep. And the two men weep together, Priam for his sons, and Achilles, now for Patroclus, now for his father. Both with their private sorrows, they create that bond. And then they fall silent and look at each other. And Achilles goes and brings Hector's body and lays it tenderly in the arms of the old man who can scarcely bear the weight of it. And then the two men look into each other's eyes, and these two enemies each see the sacred divinity that lies inherent in the other. That is the spirit we need today. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. We thank Mr. Amin Ashwani for coordinating Karen's visit, and we request him to please come and speak briefly to the audience.
Good morning and Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'll make it really brief. I understand there's a very tight schedule. As Karen mentioned about this Charter for Compassion, this is not, it's actually a whole initiative which we're launching. It's a global initiative, and we'll be launching it in Pakistan. I just want to highlight some of the partners with whom we are working with. One is Rafi Peer Theatre Workshop. As some of you might know, they have a USAID program where they're developing for Sesame Street. We have an understanding with them to develop a character that will epitomize compassion. And we're jointly developing this, so this will be introduced in their Sesame Street play. Subsequently, we will work with OUP to have that character in the educational material which we will be developing for the schools. So the children can identify what exactly a compassion role model stands for, and hence take it in their school curriculum as well. Similarly, we are working with colleges and universities as well. We've had very successful meetings in the past few days in Lahore and Islamabad, and most of the universities over there are willing to work with us to develop a course material. And the end objective is that to have all graduate students in the coming years to take a course on compassion as a prerequisite for them to graduate. Similarly, we are working with the corporate sector as well. We have Navitus on board, management consultancy. We are developing management training programs for company employees. And the value proposition over there is that if you can develop better human beings, they automatically become better employees. They can implement the corporate values in a much more meaningful and a much more effective way, corporate objectives, etc. So there, again, there is a lot of traction. Mind you, parallelly, internationally also, as Karen had, I don't know if you mentioned, we have about over 150 partners internationally working. So this is a collaborative effort, and we are constantly in touch with them also. So we are working in these parallel universes. Then we have Abdus Sattar Eidi on board. Eidi Saab has agreed to put this plaque, which I'm going to show you. This is the Urdu translation of this Charter for Compassion. Some of you might have seen it came in some of our newspapers, and it will continue to come in the next few days' time. This Charter for Compassion. Sorry. Okay. There you go. So this, we also have our website, which we've just launched 2 days ago. It's called charterforcompassion.org.pk. .pk. Please remember the word PK because .org is their international website and .pk is our Pakistan website. So we're doing blogging, Facebook, Twitter, etc., etc. So I would strongly recommend all of you to kindly visit, and please write to us if you guys have suggestions. You know, we are looking for innovative new ideas, partners to work with. Similarly, the new book which Karen mentioned, which is called A Letter to Pakistan, that hopefully should be out in the next week or so. That I would strongly recommend. It's already out now? Great. OUP works at a super fast speed. I think they are over efficient. Thank you. So this is, this is a book that is less than 100 rupees. Am I correct, Amina? Yeah. And we will be translating this into Urdu as well. And the whole idea is that to really try and mass circulate this book. This is about compassion in the Islamic context, which I think the people in Pakistan can relate to, and we are really very grateful for Karen to have specially written this book for Pakistan. I do have a sense of realization at you know, her busy schedules all over the world, but she took out that time and she wrote this book. So thank you very much, Karen. In the end, I just want to acknowledge OUP. I think they've been absolutely outstanding in this whole like initiative. Amina and Samuel, thank you. And to be honest, it's not just printing these two books. They've been there and they are partnering with us in developing the schools as well as with the universities. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Amin Saab. I must direct you towards Martin Daltrey, our colleague sat there. If you can find some time to meet with him, he's our program development manager. Thank you for inviting us to the launch of Rafiq Peer as well, and we'll be very keen to explore partnership ideas with you. Thanks very much. Someone who is not with us today physically, but she was with us for a while. I went to convince Shima to include me in the dance squad, but she refused, but she has promised that she will invest 1 year in me and will be taking me along with her next time. So, I mean, that's politely telling me to buzz off, really, which I have done. Without further ado, I now request Shima's students to please perform Aaj Rang Hai. In your applause, please. Thank you.
आज रंग